New proof has surfaced that Juice Wrld is returning in 2020.
A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's really your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. Go for it.
The passing of Juice Wrld.
The musician died early Sunday morning after suffering a, quote, medical emergency at Chicago's Midway Airport.
Alright, before we get into this pretty convincing conspiracy theory, let me quickly recap what some say was Juice Wrld faking his passing. In early December 2019, Juice Wrld was chartering a private plane that had him landing in Midway Airport in Chicago, Illinois. Everything seemed to be going well until he was making his way through the airport, that is, and all of a sudden he started to have a seizure. People noticed this and got medical personnel to him. At this point, he was having not just a seizure, but convulsions and was bleeding out of his mouth and nose. Thankfully, at the time, the medical personnel suspected something that was triggered by illegal substances, so they gave him things that would help stop an overdose from occurring in his body. Somewhat stable, he was taken to Advocate Christ Medical Center in Oak Lawn. Once there, he was treated by a properly equipped medical staff, even waking up at one point during the healing process. However, at 3:14 a.m., Juice Wrld passed on. But that was not the end of the story, far from it. You see, during this whole time, police were trying to figure out what happened in the airport, and when they figured out that Juice Wrld must have taken something to induce the state he was in, they questioned his girlfriend, who was there with him. She noted that he had a drug problem, and that was all they needed to search all of his bags for various contraband that were there because of the private plane. The search turned up 41 vacuum sealed bags of 6 bottles of prescription codeine cough syrup, 2 9mm, a 40 caliber, a high-capacity ammunition magazine, and metal piercings. 2 men identified by police as working security for Higgins were charged with misdemeanor offenses for illegally possessing the code at a source. That is definitely not the way a person wants to go out, being taken from their life via their own products and having one's name besmirched because of the reveal of what they had done. Believe it or not, this is one of the reasons why people think he's still alive. This was too convenient of a way for him to go due to the police basically waiting for him. More on that later. My goal is...
Juice Wrld said, "My goal is to get overly famous, shine for a couple years, then fake my death."
So it's pretty grim to think that anyone would want to fake their death. I mean, think of the planning that it would take, the various amount of payoffs and smoke and mirrors that you would need in order to make it work. It would not be easy and it likely wouldn't be fun. Plus, if you did a single thing wrong, you would be in trouble and likely get put away for various things alongside the things you were likely going to be put away for anyway. But we'll get to that later. Getting back to the task at hand, why do we think that Juice Wrld faked his own death? Simple. He told us he wanted to. In a tweet from April 25th, 2017, he noted, and I quote, "My goal is to get overly famous, shine for a couple years, and then fake my death." Look it up. It's likely still there unless someone erased the account. He said it, and that's not just something you say, especially when you're spelling out how you're going to fake your death. Now sure, he could have just been in a mood that day. He could have just thought, hey, maybe this would get some attention. And to be fair, this is before he made it famous via his contract with Interscope Records. So maybe he felt that this was the best path for him to be on or something like that. But when you analyze the tweet, he kind of did what he wanted to. He did get overly famous in many aspects, including being labeled one of the rising stars of the rap world. He had multiple #1 hits, a #1 album, some key collaborations, and more. Plus, since his time on the rap scene, he was technically in it for a few years. So he got famous, was shining for a while. What's step 3? Again, it's easy for someone to look at this tweet and go, he was just kidding, or that he was just saying what was on his mind. But you can't turn away from the facts that his sequence of events did come to pass in their own way. So why not say that he wanted to try and enact the third? And again, there is someone out there right now trying to pass themselves off as Juice Wrld, which many would consider crossing the line, if it wasn't for the fact that this might actually be Juice Wrld, depending on who you believe. Yeah, it's another long line of grim thoughts, but just because they're grim doesn't mean they're wrong. The 21 Club.
This connection, but in the chorus, Juice says, "We ain't making it past 21, which again was the exact age he passed away.
If you wanted more proof that Juice Wrld may have faked his own death, you need to look at some of the lyrics that he sang about not so long ago. Mainly in his song Legends, he noted a certain thing about the life expectancy of certain rappers. What's the 27-1 Club? We ain't making it past 21. Juice Wrld died just 6 days after his 21st birthday. Coincidence or something more? Let's discuss. You see, in the last few years, there have been a slew of tragic passings in the world of rap, including many passing before or just after their 21st birthday, such as Juice WRLD's friend XXXTentacion. He sang that song as a tribute to him of sorts and noted how there are many rappers out there who won't live past that age for one reason or another. To be clear, Juice WRLD and X died in very different different ways. Wrld died via a substance abuse problem that choked out his body, while X died because of a robbery gone wrong. But no matter the way, the fact remains, they didn't make it past 21, unless you believe he faked his death, which may have been a thought in his mind after he lost his friend, because he experienced firsthand of sorts what it's like to have it all, be a person that was a rising star in the industry and then have it snuffed out like it was nothing. In fact, during an interview, he noted that fame of everything hadn't gotten to him yet. I haven't really felt like, oh my god, what just happened, he said, but I think it's a good thing because when people get caught up, they can get lost in the moment. That can ruin somebody. The last line in particular was a curious one to say. Not that he's wrong, far from it. Many singers, not just rappers, have gotten their heads swelled in regards to their fame and power, and they let it destroy them in terms of their careers, their lives, and more. So what if he saw this coming? What if he realized that he was likely one of the next ones to try and go further than he should have, and decided to stop while he was ahead? If he had the planning and the foresight, it would have allowed him to set everything up and go out before the life got to him. It's not impossible, improbable, but not impossible. Or possibly he had another reason for getting out. There's many ways that you can interpret this, which is why it's so compelling in the eyes of many. Was there more than one reason for Juice Wrld going this far to try and fake his death? And potential? Of course, there was, and we'll get to it soon. But we have another piece of info to drop on you. No vanity. So as we've noted, there are some weird things going on in regards to the potential of Juice Wrld being alive. Not the least of which is that apparently there is someone out there right now known as No Vanity that is releasing music and is basically claiming to be Juice Wrld. And many people have noted that this person, whoever they are, honestly does sound like Juice Wrld. But don't worry, that's not the only thing that makes it seem like it's them. Rather, that would be the name of this rapper, No Vanity. That is the same set of words that was the biggest tattoo on Juice Wrld himself. Now, while it's fair that someone could have noticed that and then decided to just mimic Juice Wrld to try and get fame, some don't think that it's that basic. Some think that there is something much more going on here, especially since the sound of the music and the lyrics that are in the songs seem to indicate that they are along the same lines as the style Juice Wrld did. Coincidence or something much more? What would you gain from doing this kind of thing? You know, aside from setting the internet on fire with various rumors of Juice Wrld being alive, and possibly getting a little bit of fame off of it, honestly we're not sure, and that's what makes this all the more compelling. A simple tribute to a fallen wrestler, a tease that something is not as it appears to be. There's many ways to feel about it, but in truth, the biggest proof that Juice Wrld wanted to fake his death was a simple one. He needed a way out of the path that he was about to be forced on, the in-air freakout.
Went into cardiac arrest at the airport. We now know that happened while federal authorities were searching his luggage.
To truly understand why Juice Wrld may have faked his own death, we have to better understand what was going on in his mind leading to his overdose. You see, Juice Wrld was chartering a private plane and taking it to Chicago. On the plane was his girlfriend, his street team, and his security guards. Very standard affair. But there was some very unstandard stuff on board in the form of numerous kinds of narcotics and even illegal weapons and ammunition. Here is the twist in this tale. If no one had found out about these illegal items, Juice Wrld would have been fine. But just the opposite happened. While he was in the air, one of his crew got word that the federal authorities were tracking their plane, to the extent that the airport had been given orders to track the plane and let the feds know exactly when they were going to land. In short, he was in trouble and he knew it. This is when things started to get hairy on the plane, because instead of playing it cool and rational, Juice Wrld apparently started freaking out, wondering what the police were going to do to him and whether he would be going to jail and so on and so forth. Which, to be fair, given his age of just 21, that would be a fair enough reaction to have. But that's also when he started to make some really unfortunate decisions, including apparently starting to take some of the narcotics that he had on board so that they couldn't be used against him in the charges when the feds arrived. It's believed that it was these substances that led to his eventual seizures and passing, which means he died because he was trying to get himself a lower prison sentence. Because of the fact that Juice Wrld is gone, we can't fully know just how much jail time he would have gotten. There were arrests made on the night of his passing, but the problem here is that because of his past sins and all that, they can claim that it was all his product and only get slaps on the wrist themselves. This is why certain people from his team and his girlfriend who were at the airport when these events went down weren't arrested. Some airport staff were arrested for their help in the events that were clearly trying to go down, but nothing super significant. That being said, the question of what could have happened to Juice Wrld was brought up in the law school, and they decided to break down what they felt Juice Wrld would have gotten if the feds had been able to arrest him, charge him, and then convict him of possession, illegal transportation of narcotics, likely illegal enterprise, and more. Based on their own calculations, they feel that due to the nature of the crimes mixed with Juice Wrld's record, he would have gotten about 20 years in prison, though more than likely it would have been a little less if he cut a deal or certain other events played out. But that's all moot at this point. So let's use 20 years as a base plate for what he would have gotten. That seems fair. If he had gotten the max sentence and had to serve it all out, that would mean that he would have gone to prison and stayed there until he was 42, which basically would have meant his career was done, as one does not simply come back from a 20-year absence and make as big a splash as they did when they first got into the industry, especially given that rap would likely be much different by the time he had gotten out. Either way you look at it, Juice Wrld had a problem, a very serious problem, and one that did not have an immediate solution. He needed a way out, and a clever one that wouldn't get him in trouble for what he had done, the cause of death.
Wrld, quote, suffered what appeared appears to be some type of medical emergency, according to the people traveling with him.
There's a lot of odd stuff in regards to what happened to Juice Wrld on the night he passed, but one of the biggest ones is that despite passing away on December 8th, 2019, the official report on why he passed didn't come out until much later. For real, usually you'd expect things like this to be expedited due to their large nature and media attention, but that's not what happened. Instead, it took over 6 weeks to get the official report. I mean, come on. If this was a random passing, like he had just collapsed in the airport and there was no clues as to what happened to him, yeah, that would make sense that things didn't turn out like they were supposed to, and thus a long investigation would be not just expected, it would be warranted. But that's not what happened. It was almost evident from the get-go what happened to Juice Wrld, and the things that were found on his plane proved the most what really happened to the young rapper that day. And by his own admission, he was a repeat offender in the world of narcotics. I smoke weed and every now and then I slip up and do something that's poor judgment, he said. I have a lot going for me. I recognize it's a lot of big things, a lot of big looks. I want to be there, and you don't have to overdose to not be there. So does that prove it then? Is that what proves without a shadow of doubt that Juice Wrld is alive and possibly this no vanity character? Because 6 weeks is a long time to get your affairs in order and disappear from the world. If done right, he could be in another country living his own version of the high life right now. Is that what happened? No, it's not. Gone.
Because of this, and don't know what to make of it, I'm sorry, love you, and God bless your soul. #legend.
We've spelled out a lot of big reasons why Juice Wrld could very well be alive right now, and there's a lot of things to process. But the fact of the matter is, while the autopsy report on Juice Wrld was very late, it did come out, and it came out in a way that proved exactly what happened to him. The medical examiner's office has determined the cause and manner of death of 21-year-old Jared A. Higgins. Higgins died as a result of oxycodone and codeine toxicity, read a post on office's official Twitter account. So he did indeed die by his own hands, so to speak. A very tragic way of going out, and one that definitely weighed on his family, who made the following statement on this. You guys meant the entire world to Juice, and by listening to his music, watching his videos, and sharing your stories about him, you are keeping his memory alive, the message said. You have to imagine if Juice Wrld was going to do this stunt and fake his own passing, that he would let his family know. And yeah, it's possible they're in on this, but given the nature of the events, you have to think that if he did tell them about this, they wouldn't approve, and to put that on your family is not a good thing. Not to mention all of his friends are devastated by the loss. I can't believe it. You were such a sweet soul. I'll always remember meeting you and your family on the video set and thinking how close you were. You had so much further to go. You were just getting started. You'll be missed, Juice. Singer Ellie Goulding, who collaborated with the rapper on the 2019 song Hate Me, tweeted. So is Juice Wrld alive? More than likely not. While there are some weird things going on surrounding his passing and the music that has been released afterwards, there's nothing real to say that he's alive. No sightings, no mysterious medical sleight of hand or whatnot. So despite a lot of quote proof and a certain logic to the fake death notions, he's not coming back. And there you have it, a look at the death and the theories behind Juice Wrld and whether he'll return to the world. Do you think that he's alive, or do you think that people are just hoping another singer isn't lost? Let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe. I'm King Trending, and I'll see you next time.
A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's really your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. Go for it.